Welcome to the Pivot. Tonight we look at how India's Act East policy is collapsing as Modi skips ASEAN 2025. India talks about Act East, but this week it did not even show up in the East. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will not travel to Malaysia for the ASEAN 2025 summit. He will join virtually using Diwali and domestic commitments as the excuse. But here's the truth. Festivals come every year, summits do not. What is India avoiding? A handshake with Donald Trump or a hard look at its own shrinking influence? Because when India skips a major regional summit, it's not just absence, it's avoidance. India first lost South Asia, SAARC became a political carcass and a dead alliance under New Delhi's watch. Now, after losing South Asia, India looked towards ASEAN to act east. But ASEAN 2025 shows the opposite. India is exiting east. Modi's absence from Kuala Lumpur is more than symbolic. It's the story of foreign policy that's run out of direction. From neighborhood first to virtual diplomacy. When you skip ASEAN, you are not just skipping a summit. You are skipping Asia itself. And the region is noticing. ASEAN capitals from Kuala Lumpur to Jakarta see this as India stepping back from the very platform it once called central to its Indo-Pacific strategy. In its own Act East backyard, India is quietly losing ground to China, whose presence in ASEAN corridors is now louder, broader, and physical. So what does Modi's no-show really means? Let's unpack that. This is Ali Furqan and you are watching The Pivot. Experts and analysts say Modi's absence is linked to Donald Trump's return and Washington's harder tone on trade and tariffs. A Modi-Trump meeting was expected in Kuala Lumpur. Now it wouldn't happen because New Delhi knows without a trade deal that handshake would be uncomfortable. But there's more. The Trump factor is not just about tariffs, it's about trust. Trump's America is back to transactional diplomacy. For Washington, every handshake has a price tag. And for India, that's an awkward reality. US wants deeper defense alignment, yet demands market access and tariff cuts. China, meanwhile, offers engagement, but it keeps the border burning. Caught between Washington's demands and Beijing's dominance, New Delhi finds itself uneasy, trying to please both but convincing neither. And while India hesitates, Washington is moving on. US CENTCOM chief in July held a landmark meeting of Central Asian military chiefs hosted by Pakistan's Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir in Rawalpindi. That meeting speaks volumes. America now sees Islamabad as a bridge into Central Asia, not India's posturing from the sidelines. And this is not a one-off. Look at the bigger map. Trump himself at the Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt publicly praised Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir. A clear message. Pakistan is no longer boxed into South Asia. It's a Middle Eastern and Central Asian actor now. In June this year, China hosted a trilateral in Kunming, Pakistan, Bangladesh and China. Together, another minus India movement for the South Asia. This tells you where the region is heading. South Asia is moving forward and India is watching from behind. Inside India, the reactions were loud. Opposition parties mocked Modi's virtual presence, calling it diplomacy from the sofa. Congress leader J. Ram Ramesh tweeted, I quote, Modi ji is skipping ASEAN because even photo ops can't hide policy failures. On social media, hashtags like Modi avoids Trump and virtual Vishwaguru trending across India X feeds. Some called it strategic caution, others called it diplomatic retreat. The Indian Express wrote, let me quote, this will mean loss of many opportunities to hug world leaders. That irony captured the mood. India's once glamorous summit diplomacy now looks more like diplomatic withdrawal. And in Southeast Asia, where personal presence matters, leaders notice who show up and who send a screen. So let's connect the dots. Modi skips ASEAN, Trump praises Pakistan, US military works with Islamabad. China hosts Pakistan, Bangladesh, and ASEAN leaders without India. The pattern is unmistakable. India's circle of influence is shrinking, while Pakistan's diplomatic radius is expanding. The message from Washington, Beijing, and Kuala Lumpur is consistent. Pakistan is being refactored into every regional conversation, while India is losing the floor it once stood on. Act East has turned into Stay Home. Vishwa Guru has turned into Virtual Guru. India once claimed to lead the neighborhood. Now it cannot even attend the neighborhood's meeting. Asia's new map is forming, and this time the pivot doesn't turn around India. It turns around Pakistan. This is The Pivot with Ali Furqan.